The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus told his disciples this parable. The kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 were wise. The foolish ones, when taking their lamps, brought no oil with them, but the wise brought flasks of oil with their lamps. Since the bridegroom was long delayed, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. At midnight there was a cry, "Behold the bridegroom, come out to meet him." Then all those virgins got up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise ones replied, "No, for there may not be enough for us and you. Go instead to the merchants and buy some for yourselves." While they were off to buy it, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went into the wedding feast with him. Then the door was locked. Afterwards the other virgins came and said, "Lord, Lord, open the door for us." But he said in reply, "Amen, I say to you, I do not know you. Therefore stay awake, for you know neither the day nor the hour." My sisters and brothers, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Probably many or even most of you here have heard the term prosperity gospel. Basically what it alludes to is, and it's promoted by many of the especially television evangelists, that if you follow Jesus and do his will and also make a significant contribution, which, hey, we should contribute to the church, but here, make a significant contribution to this ministry, whatever it is, I guarantee you will be prosperous. You make a pledge of $1,000, you'll get $10,000 in the next 5 years. Just know that Jesus wants you to be successful. He wants you to make lots of money. He wants you to get great success, be well known, whatever it is your heart's desire. Jesus wants to do that for you. Follow the gospel and you will be prosperous in every way that you can think, especially monetarily. And of course, we know, first of all, that draws a lot of people. When they have these sometimes called exposés of some of these evangelists who's made millions of dollars off people, including poor people who give the little they have thinking, I'll make so much more. We know when we follow the way of Jesus, we are prosperous, but not in monetary terms. We are prosperous in giving our will over to the Lord and seeking to do what he asks us to do and having that deep sense of purpose in living the gospel and touching other lives to be prosperous in what matters most, the great virtues of faith, hope, and love. I bring that up because we see Paul in that first reading making the point that the heart of following Jesus, he says, we preach Christ crucified. Doesn't sound like somebody you'd want to necessarily follow. But again, it's the way of unselfish, full dedicated love and doing what God asks of us, even if it's difficult. And Paul speaks pretty emotionally and strongly in that reading from Corinthians, in part because he had been a very wise Pharisee. He had studied the law in his tradition. He was prominent in terms of the Pharisee that he was. And he was killing people, as we know, when he killed Stephen. And he was feeling pretty proud about that. Look what I did. And, of course, when he has this dramatic conversion, he sees that he's gone down the wrong path. And he hears the Lord say, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? And he recognizes it's the crucified Lord that we follow. Not in that negative way that, we all have to be people who want to self-sacrifice in unhealthy ways. But to say, yes, every day we have a choice of who we're going to follow and how we're going to follow him. And where true wisdom lies. And it doesn't lie in looking at the gospel and just only saying, what's in it for me? It does lie in looking at the gospel and say, Lord, what do you ask of me? How can I give you? How can I turn my whole life over to you? And ironically, maybe foolish to a lot of people, when we live that way, we find genuine peace and hope and love, giving of ourselves rather than going through life getting. So, take a moment and see what the Lord may be asking of us today, where we may be called to give more of ourselves even than we want to, maybe inconvenient, maybe demanding, and yet the Lord calling us to do that. Take that moment. God bless you.